Welcome to Consumer Connections, a podcast series brought to you by Sila. I'm your host, James Pikeway, and I'm joined by my co-host.
I'm Faisal Khan.
Consumer Connections is your guide to navigating the ins and outs of marketing and insights with a special focus on the Arab world and its global implications. We're thrilled to introduce you to a range of experts and leaders from the domains of strategy, marketing, and insights who will share their thoughts and real-life experiences with us. The theme of this podcast is Influencer Marketing 2.0, the rise of influencer marketing in the Arab world. Faisal, who is joining us on this podcast?
We are excited to introduce Sabine Khoury, who heads the influence department here at Sila. Sabine has over a decade of experience in social and influencer strategies, making her an expert in the field. She skillfully develops influencer strategies for prominent brands in the Arab region, using her keen eye to identify influencers that align with business and marketing objectives. Sabine firmly believes in the power of technology and data-driven insights, allowing her to create successful influencer campaigns across various social media platforms. Join us as we deep dive into her insightful knowledge and uncover the blueprint for triumphing in influencer marketing in the digital age.
Sabine, it's great to have you here on the podcast.
Great to be here with you guys.
We want to pick your brain about influencers because if anyone knows about influencers and the influencer market, it's you. And can you paint a picture for us on how influencers in this market has changed over the last 5 years, maybe?
Basically, if we were going to talk about the MENA region and the GCC region, you can see a huge shift in the influencer marketing. I'll talk in the past 2 to 3 years when we had COVID, for example, you can see a huge shift because also the way brands wanted to spend their budgets, for example, it was supposed to be spent on event, for example, or on other activations, but then they had to shift this budget, and where they shifted it to is influencer marketing because you weren't allowed to actually do all these type of events and activations. So then this actually helped the marketeers and brand managers to shift also their perspective into, okay, we have an opportunity to explore influencer marketing now. It is getting us a bit of ROI, so why don't we explore it even further? And this is where you could see, for example, during COVID and even after COVID, where, for example, travel influencers who couldn't travel, they actually were talking about fashion, giving tips, doing articles, vlogs, real-time videos with their followers. So I think, in a nutshell, I think there's we can see a maturity from a brand perspective, but also from an influencer perspective, because it's very tough for a brand to say, hey, you as an influencer, I will allow you to actually create a content for me instead of having my own, in-house team creating this. So even though the budgets have been shifting from TV, outdoor ads, and everything else to influencer marketing, you still have this bit of reservation from specific marketeers into how me as a brand, I can allow this influencer to actually create content based on my brand and guidelines and be able to spread the message out there.
One of the big issues I hear from marketers is how are we going to measure the return on investment using an influencer? How do you talk to people about that?
Basically, here we use our own AI native Arabic tool, Sila. So we do try to measure the performance based on engagement, based on specific KPIs that we do set with the brand at the start of any campaign. So we do try to look at an audience first cycle, if you want to call it like that. So as a brand, if you're using specific content creators, let's call them now, and not influencers for a change.
Do they prefer to be called content creators now, not influencers?
I think as we are speaking about how the market is changing, we used to call them more influencers, but as the days go and as they grow and the market and the industry grows, it's better to start calling them content creators because as a brand, you are creating content with your ad agency, but you are also creating content with your so-called influencers. So it's good to call them content creators at this stage. Going back to our discussion and to measuring ROI and how do we measure this. So basically, the ideal thing for brands to do is to set KPIs at the start of any campaign, whether be it they are going into awareness, looking for engagement, looking for sales, looking for affiliate marketing with their content creators. So it's setting the KPIs at the start, and it's also not looking at it from a one-point perspective. This is the most important thing that we tell marketeers and brands. Content creators or influencer marketing is a holistic approach. It should be part of your overall cycle. It shouldn't be, okay, with influencers, I will focus on, for example, awareness, while my brand manager wants to increase their sales in a specific market, for example. We do face this, actually, with a few brands, but it's also about education, right? So it's educating the brands into how you can utilize, how you can leverage the power of influencer into helping you, raise awareness or help you with the marketing objective. But it shouldn't be a standalone. It shouldn't be a standalone, marketing objective. It should be part of your holistic strategy. And this is something that, as it's maturing, the market is maturing slowly, brands are starting to, integrate it within their overall strategy.
One of the big challenges has to be figuring out which channels you're going to target or which channels they're going to use. Are they an Instagram content creator? Are they a YouTube creator? Are they a Snap creator? Are they all? How do you deal with that?
It depends on the brand category. Are you a fashion brand? Are you a food brand? Are you a travel brand? So, for example, fashion brands, they're more active on Instagram and TikTok because this is where all the content is. When you look at a food brand, for example, you can be more on TikTok and Snapchat. But then it's also merging the category and the target audience together. So, for example, if you're targeting Saudi moms, okay, they will be on TikTok, but they are also interested in Snapchat just to see snaps. So it's merging category, target audience, and looking also at the evolution of the platform and which audience is most active there. Where you have millennials, for example, they're more interested in IGTV or YouTube because they want to see this long educational content. You have Gen Z where they want something that is fast, that is, the same way they are. So TikTok is their platform. But also there's a good point actually here to talk about, which is content creators themselves can help you a lot also with this decision in terms of either whether you're an agency or a brand. So they are the ones who are the most active on these platforms. They are the ones who can adapt quickly to the changes of the platforms. They are creating content there. They can see also visibility on insights, how their content is performing. Are their photos performing better than their videos? What is their audience actually interested in? So they are the ones who can also help and support the brands into testing the quickly, changes of the platforms and how to actually adapt quickly to these changes. While on the side also as a brand or as an agency, we can look at the trends of these platforms. So how is the engagement? How is the posting going on? Which category is more active on which platform, for example? So it's a combination. You are working actually and collaborating with these content creators for a reason. And how are they able to actually communicate the message of your campaign is also because they are the experts into how these platforms work and what works best for their audiences. But of course, within a brand guideline at the end of the day.
You've been talking a lot about influencer marketing, content creators, and you work with a lot of brands. It'll actually be good to hear some examples from Sabine in terms of how she, or if she's come across any interesting content creators or some kind of campaigns that really stand out for you that you would say, yeah, these worked really well in the Arab region in specific.
Well, of course, we're going to talk about a bit of the campaigns that we've actually done here at Sila. And let me talk about a recent one, since we're talking about recent campaigns that we've done for Ramadan. It's for Pook. It's called No Super Mom. So the whole idea and the marketing objective of the brand has been for the past 2 years when it comes to Ramadan, for example, is to be there for the mom. So the objective, of course, at the end of the funnel is sales, but the main key objective for them is more awareness about us as a brand. We are here for you. We are here for you as a mom, and specifically as a GCC mom, because Arab moms, there's a lot of pressure on them into being perfect, doing everything ideal, not making mistakes, for example. So as a brand, they reach out to us to see how we can actually work on a content creator campaign that can help and support moms to show them that they are perfect, whatever they do, and there's actually like no specific recipe for their success. So what we've done is we collaborated and partnered with cook mom creators, but also lifestyle mom creators. So we try to provide the brand with a mix, even though you are a food brand, but we wanted to give you also a mix of creators, because moms, no matter if they are moms, they are cooks, they are moms at the end of the day, and they all go through the same struggle. And these creators actually created really fun and cool videos about their day-to-day life, into how their day goes, if they burn a dish in the oven, for example, or if they have clothes all over the place, for example, and they're running around their kids. But at the end of the day, no matter what they're doing, their kids appreciate them, and Pook is here for them. So Pook is here to turn any situation into a good one for them, of course, through a wide range of their category and products. And this actually resulted in a 80% positive sentiment and feedback from the audience, which is people relating to the creator's post. And it shouldn't be actually about the brand itself, but it's more about the topic in general. It's about, because that was the idea at the end of the day. It's awareness about a specific topic, which might lead eventually to sales at the end of the day, but the main objective was met, and it created a huge community of moms talking to each other, sharing, their struggles with each other, sharing tips and tricks, and helping each other. Another one I think which would be interesting also for Faisal is about sustainability. So in the last year, we've worked with one of our brands, NFPC, and it was mainly as an initiative from the brand, because they are working on the environment, sustainability. They want to be there and present in the market, given how sustainability also is a huge trend recently. So we collaborated with creators into showing how they integrate small steps in their daily life with their kids into a more sustainable world and environment, how they teach their kids, how they teach their, friends into how to be more protecting the environment, be more sustainable, less water, for example, less plastic usage. So it was a really nice overall campaign. It was mainly in the UAE, but it helped raise awareness about the brand as in terms of initiative and what they are doing, because people usually are not aware of what the brand is doing. And the main people who can actually provide you with this are your content creators, because they are relatable to the audience.
That's brilliant ideas, and how you've kind of executed the campaigns. And I think what I notice about both your campaigns, they're both deep-rooted in a consumer insight. Because you kept talking about the consumer and why these worked. How important is knowing the consumer insights data for you to be able to, whether selecting or picking out influencers, or even deciding on your campaigns and how you go about your campaigns?
And the main thing here is you can still see that some brands actually, they still look at the follower base mainly. When they look at influencer marketing in general, they still look at, okay, they have 1 million followers, they are perfect for the brand. But they don't look at the overall picture into a customer-centric, audience first approach. Because at the end of the day, your audience is the one who knows best, and your content creators audience is the ideal one. So when we look for influencers, we do use Sila, our technology platform, and the way we use Sila is we can actually predict. We can predict reach, we can predict engagement, but we can also see if there are any frauds in terms of fake followers, real followers for an influencer. So it helps you to see their trust score. Are they really relevant for the brand or not? Other than that, if we would dig even deeper, we can look into affinities. So the followers of these content creators, who do they follow? Who do they engage with the most? And this is also something very important for you, for a brand or for a marketeer, you want to know these followers, what they are interested in, because you might select a food influencer or a cook, but when you you dig deeper into their audience, you might see, I don't know, they follow YouTubers or gamers, for example. So you want to actually be able to target the right audience with the right content creators. And that's where we look also at it from a holistic perspective. And there's also one thing that I think marketeers need to focus on is looking not only, if you want to study your consumer through a platform, for example, you can, of course, but you need to also supplement it by looking into what the audience of the creators how do they used to interact with them. Basically, was this creator posting about competitors in the past, competitor brands, or did they post about your brand before where you didn't notice? What did they say about your brand? So it's really digging deeper into the overall idea, but it helps a lot. And it gives more visibility for the brand when an agency comes to them and tells them, this is what your consumer is thinking, and this is what you need to do. And you should look at the overall picture, but not just the, followers, but dig deeper into your audience.
So the research and insights is super important in this case. Do you ever have any situations, and I want to back up a little bit in the same vein, where you've got this data, this research on the influencer, on their audience, and the influencer themselves wasn't aware of some of these things?
So influencers, they work within their own world. They know who their audience is in terms of who is engaging with their posts, who is commenting on their post, and who is also replying, to their stories. When they post a story, when they post a snap, whoever is replying, they are aware of that. But when you want to dig even deeper into the affinities of, okay, these are your followers who follow you, for example, 50% of them are interested in, in health. Did you know about this? Yes, this might come sometimes as surprising to them because it's something that they cannot see, but us, as an agency and with the platform that we have and the technology that we have, we can actually see and provide it to them. So basically, when we do develop a proposal, for example, we do base it on insights. If it's something related to launching, a healthy product, for example, we do check what the conversation is going on about health, for example. Are people talking about health? Are people talking negatively about health? Is it still trending or not? And then when we pitch it, because from our end, we need to also pitch it to this influencer, like, this is what we have for you. Are you also interested? We see you are a fit. Do you see yourself as a fit? So it works both ways also, because you want the influencer to be credible and you want them to be very genuine. And this is one of the most important things now that is actually, it's an evolution basically. It's being genuine, being transparent, whether be it as a brand or influencer. So if this content creator tells me, I'm sorry, for example, I cannot create that healthy of recipes, for example, you show them your audience is interested in that. Do you still believe you don't want to do this? If they say no, of course, we tell them we understand. Because if you push also a creator to do something that they're not comfortable with for the brand, is not ideal in terms of ROI at the end. So it's a full 360 holistic, working between influencer, brand, and agency, but
sounds exciting.
Yes, it is. And you do work like with different departments at the end of the day. If you want to focus on consumer first, audience first, you need to take an approach from a research perspective and then dig deeper into the creative implementation and then the selection of your creators. So it is a big funnel,
but research driven.
Yes, exactly.
Very nice. AI,
yes.
2 letters that everyone's loving. How is AI going to influence what you do? Okay,
so for us now, we do use an AI native platform and technology that is developed in-house, and it helps us a lot into, again, we're going back into the consumer-centric audience-first approach, but it helps us a lot understanding the consumer and the brand. In terms of content creator, AI, and with a lot of AI tools that are now popping out, it can help them or support them into creating or coming up with ideas, for example. It can help them with editing their video, because you have a lot of AI platforms that are out there now. So it can support them, but it will never come instead of them. It's a support for them, but they can utilize this. And you could already see that you have a lot of tools out there where they can write scripts for you, help you, I have this idea, what is the script? And it's available for content creators actually now. So from their point of view, it's something that can support them and make their life easier, given as a content creator, you have so many collaborations going on. And instead of being lost, why not getting some support and help from AI that is actually based also on insights and keywords and everything. So
again, we're back to the research and
we're
the
back
data.
to the
Keeps coming back to research and data.
But it needs to be the most important thing. Because again, if you're looking just at followers, it's something you can do, but it's not valuable for you at the end. If you're looking at the full funnel, if you're launching from awareness and then you want to build your brand equity, you need to base it on research. You need to understand how your audience is engaging. You need to get your learnings from your influencer campaigns. What did you learn? Maybe you learned that some consumer gave feedback on your product, for example, that you weren't aware of. So it's also, you work on research, but through the influencers and the campaigns, you get your own insights from them. So they are kind of like your research tool at the end of the day, because you are getting part of the insights from them that is helping you shape your next research and your next, insight and campaign.
Faisal and I were sharing a conversation about robots, and Faisal was showing me some content, and I was amazed.
I don't even know how to pronounce her name, but I came across Lil Makela. That's how you pronounce. She's based in Los Angeles. I follow her account, and I saw this first time I saw her content was for a Calvin Klein advertisement or influencer marketing she did on one of the stages. And I was shocked to see that she's a robot, or she's virtual.
Yeah, virtual.
And she has 2 million plus followers.
True,
and then I realized that this is a growing trend. I don't know how prevalent it's in the Arab world. I happened to visit Leap in Riyadh, the technology fest, and I did meet a robot called Sarah, who's a Saudi national. She speaks multiple dialects. I don't think she's used for influencer marketing. But with Sarah in picture and with all whatever I've seen in the world, is this something that is going to be an interesting space to watch out for in the future from an influencer marketing perspective?
The head gesture said it all to me.
It's actually, I thought about that. And first of all, when you look at these things and, the technology that is going out, you're a bit scared. Because you don't expect it to go that far. But then when you look at it, it could be something where a collaboration, right? So AI, if you want to call them AI influencers, at the end of the day, they have their advantage. It's people, let's say. It's influencers who can work 24/7, for example.
No drama.
Right?
No drama.
There's no fatigue. You can, they're based on data, of course, and it's all based on data. But again, there's no drama, no fatigue. You can, keep on feeding them. We need this, we need that. And they can do it based, of course, on guidelines and everything, and actually deliver the message that you as a brand want. But when you look also at actual, real people, influencers, the difference is that they have this emotional side to them, right? They've been through, it's an actual person who's been through a lot of learnings, a lot of experiences also, where it can help you, they can build this emotional connection with the user. So I think later on, maybe in a year's time or less, I don't know, but it could be brands leveraging, the power of both, like AI influencers and also actual influencers, because they can each give you, right? They can, at the end of the day, their target is the same.
Correct.
They will be able to provide with the correct message, but they can leverage the power of both. For me, I still believe AI influencers maybe the start could be more into, how Prada is doing, like partnering since, I think, 5 years ago with Michela, right? It could be maybe virtual games, gaming, specific industries that can start, where people are actually interested and can actually engage, with tech and AI influencers. But then slowly, if there's also, profitability and everything else when it comes with AI influencers, it can combine both.
And there's also something when I think about the AI influencers, there's also, when we talk about actual human influencers, there's that human imperfection that draws you in.
Exactly. It's the emotional connection at the end of the day. And as a brand, you want to build this emotional connection. But at the end of the day, you can leverage the power of both. How? We will need to see, but it can come across, different categories at the start, like fashion, tech, gaming, and then slowly being explored into FMCG, travel. So it's interesting.
I want to stay with the influencers just for a second here. When we look across the region, are there any influencers that stand out to you that speak across the region, or do we see a lot of influencers working at very specific parts of the market?
You have a mix of both. You have, if you talk GCC only, you have creators who are famous in KSA, in Kuwait specifically, in UAE. But then you have creators who might be based in UAE, but their audience is in KSA, because the way they do their content caters to the way the audience in KSA likes the content to be. So you have a mix of both, and usually you do see within a specific creator, for example, that they do have spillovers, like even if they are based in KSA, but they do have part of their audience in Kuwait and UAE and Qatar, so you can see a mix. And this is the beauty, and this is how influencers should be. You should cater to a specific audience within a specific market, but then you can also expand a bit, because as a brand, you are also present in different markets. And if your strategy is the same within the GCC, for example, why not explore creators who have visibility across different countries?
I was extremely curious. I was looking at some data which was very specific to food influencers. And something that I noticed, and I was very curious, I wonder why that is that a lot of the popular cooking-related influencers, they're actually males, and they're top performing. They actually perform, a lot of them perform much better than their female counterparts. Is there any explanation to that?
It's true. You have a lot of good and strong cook creators, specifically in the GCC, actually, and in the MENA region also. But when you look at the followers, the audience of these creators, 70% of the split is females. So you have these very strong male creators, and they cater to the female audience at the end of the day, because moms are the ones who cook mainly, no offense to the to the ads, but they are the ones interested in this type of content. So you can see a lot of chefs, also actual chefs from restaurants or popular regional TV shows here, who actually turned out to be also influencers across the years. And these type of people, it's the female audience who is attracted to see their recipes, because they are also promoting brands who are targeting a female audience. But instead of only working with content creators who are moms or females, why not explore popular content creators who are males? And they're not only going into, cooking on Instagram or TikTok or Snapchat, but they are also doing live cooking shows. For example, you can see them present if a brand is launching a new product and they want to promote it, you can see them present on ground, for example, promoting this brand. And the audience relates to them because these are the people who follow them. So it is interesting, and it's also people we do work with. We do work with a lot of male creators, and it depends again on the brand's objective. If they want to explore working with a male creator and they think it resonates with their audience too.
Is there a turnover in creators, or are we seeing an exponential increase in them, or have they dropped off, or is it just, do we just see a constant cycle of people going through this, let's call it a field?
Currently now it's growing, and you can see the growth basically on both through Instagram creators and TikTok creators. You can see the same growth on both platforms, because also Instagram is trying to work on their algorithm, is trying to adjust the way their reels is being seen to people, so it can also compete a bit, with TikTok and the way TikTok is working. So you can see a lot of exponential going on, and it's interesting actually, because the platforms are supporting new, if you want to call them new content creators. So you have a lot of content creators who used to be small, but then the platforms are actually encouraging them and supporting them in growing. And this is something interesting to see, because as a brand, you can realize at the end of the day that you don't need to work with someone who has 1 million followers all the time. You can work, with nano or micro influencers, because they are the ones also who are rising now, right? And they are the ones who focus a lot on their content more than the macro ones, if you want to say it like that. And the engagement on these content creators is really good compared to the macro ones. So for us now, we do work on a mix of, the new rise of the content creators who are small and actually growing, and the big ones, the macro ones, who are already famous and known.
When I think influencers, I think, like many of these marketing companies, how many followers do I have? And I just look at those brute numbers. And if you don't have 100,000 followers, well, you're not an influencer. But as you're saying, that's not necessarily the case.
Exactly. Because it's beyond the number, the actual number of followers. It goes back into the audience. And it should be all about the audience. And for us, you can already see, you have a lot of, and I'm not going to say names for now, but you have a lot of small influencers who have 50K, for example, who are already verified accounts, very influential people who talk about specific subjects that the audience is interested in. So it's looking at the overall picture, and not only, okay, I have 1 million, then it's good to go. It's a marketing mix at the end of the day. The same way you do your own marketing mix for a brand, you do your own marketing mix for your influencer campaign, if you can call it like that. So, and brands are starting to realize this now, because we used to work before, let's say 5 years ago, with only very big content creators, because we wanted to only achieve reach. But then when we looked back into all of our reports, how the audience is acting, what the audience is doing, no, we saw that smaller also creators, they have their own impact. When you look into the sentiment, when you look into their engagement, when you look into the way they talk to their audience, is more genuine. And this is, as a brand, what you need to look at. Like being transparent and being genuine.
James and I thought you would say 500 and we could pass off as other influences. And then when you said small and 50K in the same breath, we lost our interest there.
Of course you have influencers who have 10K, for example. And these are really
10K
good
is also
people.
far from reach. But we'll get there, slowly, steadily.
Each one of us influences the other in their own way, right?
That's a thought.
I think the takeaway for me is that working in this industry as a content creator who's influencing people, it's work. I always, in the back of my mind, when I see influencers walking around a hotel and creating content, I often think, oh, this is the easiest job in the world. It's not the easiest job in the world. Like it is constant work, thinking of the platform, thinking of your audience, thinking of the engagement, thinking of the follow-up, thinking of where is this going to lead, and keeping abreast of change. It's a lot of work.
True. And that's, I think, again, as the market is maturing, as brands also are maturing more and more, they are starting to realize this, and they are starting to integrate more and more influencers within their marketing strategy. It's something started, during COVID, and it keeps on increasing now. And I think, again, as Faisal said, with the AI also, influencers, you will see within the year, for example, a lot of changes in the influencer marketing. Hopefully we can influence people together.
Thank you so much. Thanks, Sabine.
You have been listening to Consumer Connections, a podcast series brought to you by Sila. The theme of this episode has been Marketing 2.0, the rise of influencer marketing in the Arab world. Our guest has been Sabine Khoury, Head of Influence at Sila.